In this edition of the Working in Football series, we're going to look at the working week of a football scout. What do they get up to on a day-to-day basis? What do game days look like? How do scouts prep? And how do they manage things after they've been to games? I'm Joe, and this is another Nowhere Man. I've put together here an example of a working week for a recruitment scout. This example is based around someone who's working full-time in the football industry. With football taking place on Saturdays and in the evenings throughout the week, it's not a very traditional working week. Most scouts work from home and from the training ground in a hybrid role. Throughout the week, when scouts aren't at live matches, they're doing work on video and data. When scouts are in at the training ground, they're usually partaking in meetings or leading presentations. You'll also find that a football scout's routine differs massively depending on the time of year and the time in the season. Some scouts may be managing a smaller pool of part-time or voluntary scouts underneath them. There's a lot of logistics and planning that goes into the scouting industry. You can't just turn up at a game. A lot of prep work needs to go into things. Scouts are usually sat together at matches in specified locations inside the stadium. Scouts will reach out to the club of the game they want to attend and request a scout's access ticket. Usually the club will provide parking, sometimes they'll also provide food, beverages, and usually a team sheet. Printed team sheets, whilst a little bit traditional, are still used to this day. It's really helpful to have a clear idea on paper in front of you as a scout, who every single player on the pitch is, what number they're wearing, which team they play for, who's coming on as a sub when the number goes up from the fourth official. So let's overview a game prep and also post-match. We'll start here on game day -6, where the scout in question is requesting scouts access for the game. He'll reach out to the home club of the fixture he wants to attend. They'll let them know their name, car registration, and the club that they're working for, and the club will come back to them and give them the details for the game at the weekend. Closer to game day on game day -1, there'll be a lot of research going on. The players involved in the game, their contract expiry, age, and their agency and who looks after them. There'll be a lot of researching for the two teams as well, their systems and their shapes, and the players that they have and haven't been using. This is also a last opportunity to make sure that all the logistics are okay, parking and other important things that need to be in place. That brings us to game day, which involves driving to the stadium and parking as advised by the club, and then making your way inside. Once inside, networking is the name of the game. There's an hour to kick off and there's plenty of scouts milling around in one area. This is where a lot of conversations are had about players, agents, staff, important goings on in the world of football. Then it's time for the match, and of course here is pretty simple, watching the game and taking notes. Some scouts now using digital notepads, some scouts still scribing with a pencil or a pen, and some people using their phone. After that, of course, driving home, and then looking ahead, a day or two after the game, writing up reports on the central reporting system based on the notes that have been taken, and updating club lists and systems. This has been just a small insight into the working week of a football scout, mainly based around someone working in the UK. If you're interested in becoming a football scout yourself, you might want to head over to our Patreon. It's a small community of people. You can reach out to me there privately and we can discuss your career and the pathway that you want to choose. Thanks for watching this video. This has been episode 4 of the Working in Football series. I'm Joe, and this is another Nowhere Man.